Good day, everyone. Good day, Ma'am Ana. I am Jemary Datolio, and I am a student of BS Ed English. And for today's video, we will tackle about the Unit 4, which is Assessment, Learning Resources, and Instructional Accommodation, specifically the Quality Differentiated Instructions. For our learning objectives, we have defined quality differentiated instructions, determine the 4 ways in differentiating instructions, and give the importance of differentiated instructions in education. So, quality differentiated instructions. It is the teaching of the same materials to all students using the variety of instructional materials, or it may be requiring the teacher to deliver the lesson at varying difficulty based on the ability of each student. So in a classroom, there is really a diversity. Students came from different backgrounds, different beliefs, and in fact, students have different learning strategies. So as a student, you have to be sensitive to those differences in making your instructional materials. So in order to cater all those differences, as a teacher, it is our job to really filter all the instructional materials and making sure that we are using the same materials in making our content or making our instructional materials, but we are making sure that in delivering all those lessons, we may be using variety of instructional materials, because some students are good at visuals and there are also audio learners, and some students are more capable of interactive activities. So in considering the differences of a students inside the classroom, we must also consider the ability of each learner, because each learner has different level of ability. So in making our materials, we have also to consider their differences and the ability of the students. So quality differentiated instructions, it is also a method of teaching that considers the requirement and learning styles of each student before creating a lesson plan. So differentiated instructions, from the term differentiated instructions, is using a variety of instructional materials and catering all the differences of our students. So differentiated instructions is not just using the same materials in making our instructional materials, but it is also teaching with the consideration of the learning styles of our students. So we must also first know and consider understanding our students before making our instructional materials or before creating our lesson plans. So quality differentiated instructions, a good differentiated teaching program means high quality that meet students' needs within their learning development. So we can say that the differentiated instructions or differentiated teaching program is good. It is means high quality, or it meet all the students' needs in consideration with their learning development. So we will discuss differentiated instructions in 4 ways according to Tomlinson. So the 4 ways according to Tomlinson are content, process, product, and learning environment. So the first one is content. It is what is to be learned, or what information or content need to be learned by our students. So it is the knowledge, concept, and skills that students need to learn based on the curriculum. So for example, use content based on students' interests, age, academic readiness, and language proficiency. So in this way, which is the first one, the content, as teacher, you have to think of the best information or the best concept or knowledge that is suitable for your students to be learned, that is very relevant, credible, and suits the students' interests, their academic readiness, and language proficiency. Because by doing so, surely the students would be able to really learn and understand the content immediately. The second one is process. It is how students acquire the information. So the first one is content. So in content, it is about what is to be learned by the students, or the information or the concept. In the second ways, it is the process, or how to acquire, or how the students may be acquiring the information that is being prepared by the teacher. So as what we have discussed earlier, that in a classroom there is really diversity. So our students came from different backgrounds and different learning strategies, and they have also different interests and beliefs. So in delivering our lessons, we have to really cater our students, or know more our students. So like for example, in the process, or in delivering our information, we have to consider textbooks for visuals and word learners, and audio materials for auditory learners, and interactive activity for other students who are more on activities, or easier to understand information to an interactive activities. So by doing those strategies, despite the differences that the students would have inside the classroom, even though using variety of instructional materials, in consideration with the differentiated instructions, it would be very possible that despite the differences inside the classroom, the teaching and learning process would be very possible. The third one is the product. So as what we have mentioned earlier, the first one is the content, or what is really need to be learned by the students, or the information, the concept, or the knowledge that needs to be learned by the students. And the second one is the process, or how the students may acquire the information being prepared by the students. So now we are now on the third, which is the product, or how the students demonstrate their learning based on the information and the process of delivery of the teachers inside the classroom. So in order to understand or know the learning of the students, the teacher must give activities or assessment to their students. Like for example, after the delivery of the lesson, the teacher would let their students speak, let them show their thoughts, ideas, let them write, create some outputs, research, and explore more. By doing so, the teacher would know what level of learning did the students did, and it is also a very vital part of the students to assess the learning of the students, for them to be able to know the strength and the weaknesses of their students, or to determine which part of their learning objectives or their goals needs to be improved or enhanced in order to cater all the needs and development of the students. Last one is learning environment. So it is where and with whom the students learn. So it is learning environment is very vital also for the learning of the students. Just like room arrangement, inclusivity, or the openness, or being welcome to all students, and students interaction. It is vital role in a student's learning journey, because by doing so, it would be very possible for our students to perform their best in order to enhance and develop their capabilities. So, why teacher use differentiated instructions? So, we have here 5 reasons why teacher uses differentiated instructions. The first one, students have different needs. So, since students have different needs, to cater all those needs, the teacher must use differentiated instructions. The second one, students comes from different educational background. The third one, students have different attention spans and interests. So, in order to cater those interests, needs, so it is important to implement the differentiated instructions. The fourth one is students have different language difficulties. So, differentiated instructions is very important to help the students in overcoming the language difficulties that they have. And the last one is the students have different cultural backgrounds. So, as what we have discussed earlier, that in a classroom there is diversity. So, when the diversity is there, surely that students have different backgrounds and different beliefs and instruction. Learning strategies. So, in order to cater all of this, In order to cater all of this, differentiated instructions must be implemented. The last one is the importance of differentiated instructions, or what is the essence or the importance of differentiated instructions. Differentiated instructions importance is very undeniable because it can improve the learning outcomes for students. So, since students have different strategies in learning, so when those needs are being met, surely that they would perform well and improve their learning outcomes. And differentiating instruction is more than helping students who are behind catch up. So for those students who are need help or behind catch up, differentiated instructions is very vital and important for them. And when instruction is differentiated, students can find ways to engage within the content and grow their learning. So, as what we have discussed earlier, that students have diverse learning strategies. So, if there is the use of differentiated instructions, the students would find ways or be interested and engaged in performing the activity that would help them in growing and developing their learning capabilities.